Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Faith and I'm so glad that you are here. Today is a really special day. I'm doing a sit down interview with our oldest son, Matt, who many of you know from the Texas Boys channel. You followed him probably over there. Some of you since he was about 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been following Matt since he was born.
Yeah,
and,
just about.
And Matt is getting ready to turn 18 here soon. And I just thought that it would be a really special time to sit down and ask him some questions and maybe just share some little things with y'all as you are endeavoring to raise children, and maybe you have young men in your own life. Maybe they're getting ready to go through those teen years or into adulthood. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. I just thought this would be a fun video. So before we jump into it, I just wanted to take a minute to introduce y'all to my planner. This is a new planner that I made for this year, and it is called the Simple Homemaker. And within this planner, there is space to manage everything in your home, your food, your pantry, your homestead, everything from emergency preparedness. It's all there. I will leave the link for you below. And I made a video about this a couple videos back, just saying to go ahead and use this as a tool. There's also the PDF version of it that you can download and print out and put into your own binder, and it's a little cheaper that way too, and that is over on TheTexasBoys.com. So I just wanted to go ahead and give a little shameless plug for my planner at this point. TheTexasBoys.com. If you don't know, you can go over there and find coffee, tea, honey, just so many different things, and that will be a great way to support our family and have a little something for yourself.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump into it, Matt. So 18 coming up.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Feels good. Feels good. Yeah.
Feels good.
Makes me grin.
Yeah.
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 Just a little bit. Yeah.
It's a big milestone.
It's definitely a big milestone, and be coming back into an even number, which will be nice. The old odd number is not my favorite, but
That's funny.
yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, 18 is definitely one of those milestones for some people. Some people it's maybe 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think it's a big milestone, and you're wrapping up the rest of your homeschool this year, just kind of crunching out the last little bit of that. And I think moving forward into this new season of life, you have some big goals.
Yeah.
You got some big plans, and maybe we'll get into that and share a little bit of that. And I think the other thing that we could kind of share in this is that parenting, definitely, I can't speak from a father's perspective, but from a mother's perspective, parenting young men is a really different dynamic. So when they're little boys, they just obey simply, and you ask them to do things, and it's fun, and it's just very easy. I think boys are so easy. They're so simple, and it's just a whole lot of fun. They could be stubborn, they can be rowdy. There's challenging things about little boys, but there's a simplicity with raising little boys. But then once they enter into 12, 13, 14 years old, you kind of, the hormones come onto the scene. And you as a mom, I know I can speak for myself that I started to really realize that my level of interaction with my boys starts to change drastically during those hormonal years. And my level of respect for my boys during those years really goes up tremendously. Like I stop looking at them as little boys, and I start really respecting them as the young men that they are. Just really trying to encourage them in their gifts and their talents that the Lord has given to them, and just building them up in those things, and just really trying to love and nurture our relationship, and just keep it a relationship of mutual respect. And I think in doing that, it should reflect to them their relationship someday, Lord willing, that they would have towards their wife, of I have this level of respect, and I try not to. It's funny, like when you're younger, we had the chore charts, and and they helped with so many things around the house, and they even did like the cleaning zones with me.
I remember that.
And so many different things. And as they really grow into those, I'm gonna say 12 to 18, because that's my experience right now. That stuff just very, very much changed in our home. And I know it might not change in everybody's home. No. Everybody has a different scenario. But for our home, those things drastically changed. I just really took over all of the domestic type chores, and really just leaned on them very heavily to do all of the outside chores and responsibilities. And once you got your driver's license, you were able to really take on even more responsibility and be able to handle all of the errands and getting animal feed and just managing the ranch up the street and just fencing and just so many different things that I cannot do and don't want to do. I'd much rather be home, making sure my house is clean and folding laundry and homeschooling my little ones. And it really freed me up also. It's been a huge blessing, because having our older ones, I know a lot of people talk about how challenging that is to have older ones and then have little ones and have that gap.
I've heard people talk about that.
And I think it does present this challenge where you feel slightly like divided. Like you feel like you're raising these older children, and then you have these younger little children who need you in a totally different way. But I feel like it just totally, having you three be older just took so much off of my plate and freed me up so much to just be mom to the little ones. And, y'all are busy. Like, I mean, you're running a business. You're, you built a tiny house when you were like, what, 15? 14, something like that.
Yeah, with my two other brothers,
Yes, and you built a shop. You have a sawmill.
Which the other thing, too, is that I think people have to understand is that there's pretty much 2 batches of us kids, and they're 3 and 3. So there's 6 kids in all, but there's us 3 bigger boys. So that's 14 and 15 or 16, right? And then it's me. And then we got the little guys there that are all like under 7.
Yes.
Yeah, 7, almost 8.
Yes.
So it's kind of there's that 7-year gap. So then, maybe during this video, if I mention like my 2 other brothers, I'm saying from the first batch. So not like we're like separated or something weird. But it's definitely a different dynamic, and it's kind of cool because now the second batch of kids now they're growing up now, and they're being way more helpful and stuff like that. So, Jed, he's about 7 years old, going to be 8. And then, he's getting into that really helpful, like stage where he's chilled out. He's not crazy anymore, like, baby crazy or whatever. And he's just kind of calm, and he's just cool dude to be around.
He is a cool dude to be around. Yes. So I guess that would lead us into that question. So do you enjoy you're the oldest. Do you enjoy being the oldest? And what is your relationship like with having everybody's younger than you.
Yeah.
So how is that?
It's nice at certain times, but then at the same hand, I could definitely see the pros of being like a middle child or something like that. Yeah, but then the other thing is that it's just a big responsibility on the oldest kid, I think, in every family, is that he sets the tone of everybody too, for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the parents set the tone for the oldest pretty much. Mm-hmm. Then the oldest holds that tone for the rest of the other kids. So then they look up to me being like, oh, mom just asked us to do something or whatever. Mm-hmm. And okay, we're going to base our feelings and our emotions and our thought on on whatever we're doing on him. Okay, oh, he's acting chill about it or good about this or calm about this situation. All right, well, I'll go ahead and be chill and calm about it too,
I
or
think
whatever.
That's something that we always stressed with you right from the beginning, was that you're the oldest.
Yeah.
You know, it came with great responsibility, and we wanted you to feel really important in the family, because you are really, really important in the family. The oldest child does set the tone for the rest of the children, and there's times, like probably during your early teen life, where I might have to say, hey, you set the example. Yeah. Like I'd have to take him aside and remind him of that. Like I'm going back to like 12 years old or something. Like just like reminding, you know, not embarrassing him in front of anybody, but just taking him aside privately and just reminding him like, hey, you set the tone. Like I need you. Like I need your support here. Yeah. You know, however you respond is how they're going to respond. And, you know, it's really important. Yeah. And I mean, I'm so thankful for you. You have set like such a great example of work ethic and just, you know, honoring each other. I mean, that's a big thing that we say all the time. We have things that we say like,
they're just like little like sayings that we say.
Family mottos. Like,
exactly.
All day. Yeah, it's like, you know, honor each other. Kindness, right?
Yeah, kindness.
Or like kindness in your heart. Like I always say that. Kindness in your heart. Yeah. Like if the little ones are squabbling, like or like I don't even know. It just like
it just comes out naturally.
Yeah, and like you know, it just I don't know. It's just been things like that you've really, really taken it all in stride, and like I do super appreciate. You know,
I learned early on when. Like the teenager years and stuff, like I acted like, I don't know, I just wanted to just kind of like be in control of a lot of things, but then I kind of, as I started aging more, I just kind of let stuff go. Like, you know, and then just agree with a lot of stuff.
Right.
And just bite my tongue on a lot of stuff too.
I think it goes both ways to keep that healthy relationship. I mean, there's a lot of things as a mom, like I'm saying, raising boys, that once you get to that 12-year mark, 13-year-old mark, I really felt like the same, that I had to start really letting go of a lot of control and letting go of a lot of ideals that I would have in my mind. And I really reserve my my role as mom, my title as mom. I try to really reserve that for things that, like, if I really need help with something, like
because you don't want to be like, oh, you know, you don't want to be that mom that's like perpetually on their kids, and then their kids are like have this weird relationship with their mom where it's like, oh, my mom, or oh, my dad.
Right.
And I've met so many kids that are like that. And I'm like, when they say that, I'm like, well, that's just not how, like, that's just not that way with my mom, like, or my dad.
Yeah.
You know,
like there's sometimes that I'm like, I really need a boy to take out the trash, or
like, okay,
I would really need a boy to help me load this dishwasher. But generally speaking, I try to figure things out and do things myself, if at all possible. Unless I'm really tired and it's the end of the night, I might ask you to do one or two things. But generally, I want them freed up to not be doing domestic work at this point. I want them to be doing man work. And I know we're really big on gender roles in our house.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It's just very old fashioned and it's how we prefer it. And I love it personally. I feel super blessed and honored that I get to do all of the wife and the mom things.
And it's different in every home, you know, if you don't live on a decent piece of property where, or maybe your young adult children or your young men don't have a job yet or something like that. It's going to be a different dynamic, you know.
Absolutely.
So you might have to lean on them more.
Right.
Or maybe you're somebody that just, no matter what, until they move out of the house, you're the dishwasher loader or something like that.
Right.
Fill in the blank type of thing.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. Everybody has
everybody
different
has their-
personalities too. But even if they didn't live on a farm, I think that one thing that you did from a young age, I mean, basically from the time that we moved here to this farm, was that you always did work off of the farm.
Yeah.
Like you worked for neighbors.
Yeah.
You did little odds and end jobs. You did yard work. You just did farm sitting, like anything and everything, ranch hand, like whatever needed to be done and filled in, you were always available to do those jobs. And I think, you know, thinking like if you didn't live on a farm and your child just had an outside job outside of the home, that's when I think that dynamic, that's when that shift happens, that you start having this respect for them as a young adult, as a young person moving into like a more responsible role. And then that's when you do get the freedom to come back into just the mom role of, okay, I can load the dishwasher, I can make the meals, we can, you know, I can do most of these things. If they want to help me sometimes, that's wonderful, but it's not like I'm not asking them to do those things all the time. I'd much prefer they have their own independence and have their own life, you know?
Yeah.
And being really productive. Like we're really big on using time well and being productive. Like none of my young people, like 12 years old to 18 years old, like they get some downtime during the day to go pursue something that's of interest to them, but they're not like just sitting around like doing nothing.
No.
Watching, consuming media or like, I don't know what else young people would do, but like playing video games. We don't play video games. So no, there's no waste of time type things like that. So that's a big help too. I think that keeps that mutual respect going because I'm not playing games on my phone. I'm not just like consuming media and sitting on my phone, and you're not either.
Exactly.
And so when we see each other in passing, oh, mom's busy in the kitchen working. Like I might be listening to a podcast in my ears, but I'm still working. And you might be listening to a podcast, but you're on a tractor doing something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's been really cool. So yeah, let's just jump into the big goals. Moving into
big goals.
What are some of your visions for the future? Right, we're not going to say like a time frame on it, but just what are some of your vision for the future?
I guess biggest goal for this year mainly, which I think it's totally doable is definitely building my house. So getting that done, getting started. Yeah, this year.
Yes.
But yeah, doing that. My brother James, he's a very excellent carpenter, and so he's got it all priced out and got me and him drew up the floor plans and stuff like that. So working on that. Lord willing, we can drill us a deep well. My plan is to get to be off the grid as much as possible. Me and him were talking last night. We have to do some stuff. We have to start looking it up, checking it out. We don't know if we want to do solar or if we want to do propane. Okay. We're either going to do either or. because I'm just really big into not having electric bill at the end of the month. I'd rather pay a propane bill or something like that instead of being tied onto the grid. So yeah, just trying to figure that out. Cool thing would be is if it was all propane, James was saying that they sell these whole house propane generators. They're super quiet.
Yes.
And then we can bury the tank in the ground, which the propane company will cover the whole entire thing. All I have to do is pay to fill it up.
Right.
So we have to do some calculations on that. So that's another thing. The other thing is going to be getting the property all cleared out. I got my house site picked out, which was quite a feat to do, and trying to figure out where that was going to go.
Yeah, that's a big decision.
Yeah. So had to do that. Buddy's been a big help clearing the land. We got a big fence line that he's been clearing out. So yeah, just doing those things. Those are some goals, mainly around the house right now. And then just trying to figure out some long-term like investment plans and things like that. Just so then we'll be all good financially wise.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And you're quite diversified in your businesses, but I think you're probably going to be being more diversified as you move forward too. Like you said, maybe spinning off a podcast off of this and just continuing to put things in place that we're kind of building on what foundation you've already laid here for the business.
Exactly.
So, do you have any advice to young men, say that 12 to 18, if you could give them one, or I don't know, if you could give them anything?
Any advice?
Yeah, any advice.
Kind of just life advice.
Yeah.
First thing is definitely just going to be honoring your parents. One of my biggest sayings that I say to all of to both my parents is just good point. That's all I say. Even if I don't agree about whatever they're saying, just agree with it. But don't halfway agree and then your face is saying what you really think. Just okay, it's fine. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they're right. So just go ahead and do it because you don't want to look like an idiot. The other thing too is definitely staying, I would say of recently, is just staying in shape and things like that. I think a lot of teenagers or young adults definitely forget about that aspect.
Yes.
Too, is even if you are a little overweight, it is very easy, especially when you're young, to lose it and correct that.
And how much does that impact your mental health, your energy?
Oh, incredibly.
Just how you feel about yourself. That physical health does impact so much.
I mean, just being able to look in the mirror, even as weird and maybe selfish that is. I mean, if you don't like the way you look, just body wise, it can really wear you down.
Yeah.
And you can go around, and if you don't feel really, it sounds selfish, but I'm just going to say it anyway. But if you just don't feel like that you don't personally feel good about the way you look, and you don't want people to see you, that's why you got a lot of introverted people that just I don't want anybody to see me this way or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, just a lot of maintaining your form and your figure and stuff like that too.
And that's been really important to you, I would say, for the past 2 years now. Has been putting some time every day or every other day into your physical health. And I think it speaks so much to how balanced and level you are with your emotions. I mean, I know the Lord helps you.
Oh yeah.
That is most important.
80%, 90%.
Yes, I think that's the biggest thing. But second to that, I mean, our emotions and our mental health can wear on us.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of pressure. You have a lot on your plate every day.
And you can release a lot of the pressure and stress by just working out.
Yes. So what do you do to work out?
So I do a training days. So I'll do, on a good schedule, I'll do upper body, and then I'll do an upper body day and then a leg day. If leg day is always always stink. But anyway, so if I'm feeling up to it, I'll do a leg day in between. But most of the time, 100% of the time, I really like doing upper body days. But so it's 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. So I do that. And then you definitely, even when you do start training and stuff like that and working out a little bit, you even more so you start noticing and you start paying more attention to what you eat too.
Yes.
So if you break a lot of those bad habits and stuff, because if you're working really, really hard onto maintaining your physique and what you want to look like, you're not going to want to go eat gummy bears and stuff like that, you know, because you worked so hard to get to it. So you're not going to fall back into those traps.
No, you're like, this is not worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still working on something here. I can't.
And I was going to be a super big guy when I already weighed like 160 something pounds back when I was like 13, 14. I was going to weigh like 200 plus pounds by now.
You were going to be
so I was going to be a big guy. But you know, cut all the dairy, cut all the gluten, massively reduce sugar intakes, things like that. Do you have to do that? No. But even if you are consuming those things, just being very careful on how you consume it. Because that trifecta, I say, is one of the biggest things with a lot of the health issues that we have. I see even like a lot, I know I might get flack for this, but we used to have dairy cows, and most of the time, dairy is fine in your diet or whatever for gut biome stuff. I get it, yogurt, stuff like that. Awesome, great. But in little amounts, okay? Per week or whatever. So, but when you have a dairy cow, the downside about it is that you have so much milk that you just start to consume way more dairy in your life. And how your body has to handle with that is then convert that into a vinegar substance inside your gut. And it's hard on your body, y'all. And I'll tell you, the one craziest thing ever is also too, this is another big thing with your body and everything, is acne. I will tell you, that is the one big thing that I think a lot of young adults and stuff do. And I think a lot of, even when it comes to girls and boys, I guess too, but you know, most of them hide it under 8 pounds of makeup too. That's normally how you can tell if they don't like what they look like. They'll just smear makeup all over them. But no, like, I've been able to, you know, I have good days, bad days, whatever, good weeks, bad weeks. Of course, no matter how healthy you eat, you're going to have good weeks, bad weeks, whatever. It can ride on hormones and stuff like that too, you know. But I've really seen of lately, cutting down on your oil intakes really helps out.
The oil,
a lot. Not consuming loads of butter, even coconut oil and stuff like that, just chilling out on it a little bit. It keeps your skin a little bit more, not drier, but just not wet and oily. Like, I'm not gonna, like, even if I wipe my skin right now, my hands aren't oily.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I don't have to be perpetually putting on whatever type of toxins or anything to put on my face to like dry it out perpetually, which I had to work on. Had to do a lot back when I used to consume a lot of dairy and gluten and sugar and stuff like that.
Yeah. And oil, like you said, just realizing that, you know, constantly tweaking it. And that's something that I've been working on this past year, and going into this new year, I'm going to continue to work on it, but just really prioritizing my health, keeping it up there at, you know, second place in my life, just because it does affect everything. It affects my mental well-being. It affects my relationships with everybody in my family, everybody around me. So just really taking care of myself. And I know, I'm so happy that you have, you know, prioritized that in your life too. I think it's just going to really help you to just...
Well, everything's against us, so we have to really pay attention to that too. Like, they're spraying us all the time with pesticides. They use pesticides on the road. We're just getting hit by every single thing. And I think our health is at least number 2 on the list. You know, you got God, and then you got family and health. It's right there. So you got to stay on top of that, you know, because as soon as your health starts to decrease a little bit, it can really go downhill from there.
Well, then let's just talk about the first important thing, because I think we've touched on you're finishing up school. We talked on some of your big vision plans for your house build and then some of your business goals. But let's just go ahead and talk about your most important number one priority is always God, like you said. And so how do you focus on that on an everyday basis? What does that look like for you?
On an everyday basis, of lately, we've all been getting up as a family at around 6 o'clock and getting in a good Bible time. And then throughout the day, just trying to remember back on what we kind of studied on. And then the other biggest thing that helped me amazingly too in my walk with God and everything like that is listening to hymns, and then also listening to preaching and other Christian people talking, even if it wasn't a sermon or whatever, but them just mentioning how they do stuff from a Christian aspect is amazing, because I think most of the time, 99% of the time, a lot of the younger generation nowadays, they're very rebellious, and they just have this drawing to the world, and it's not so good. So definitely always trying to have, just always trying to keep God on top priority, and always thinking about it too, especially when you're doing something or whatever, be like, oh, God's watching or whatever, you know, and always keeping that in the back of your mind, always there. And the other thing too is if you actually are saved, it helps. Just a little. So if you're not saved, it's really hard to keep God in your mind. It's really hard. It's really, really hard to, you probably feel very uncomfortable listening to all this preaching stuff. Maybe not. Maybe you're getting drawn by the Holy Spirit to all these things possibly. And so you are listening to more music, Christian music and things like that. I think that's just always trying to, it's definitely a battle. You got dips and valleys and stuff. Sometimes you doubt your salvation a little bit, and then he picks you up and he'll remind you that, no, I saved you, buddy. You're fine. Just keep on going. It's just a little dark. But I've mainly found that in my lowest times, I always feel the closest to God. So and it's this weird relationship that we have, and I'm not trying to make it sound all weird, but that we have with God is that pride does come before a fall. So I always have to remind myself, okay, whatever it is, business-wise, how I'm feeling, whatever. So when I'm starting to feel good about myself, when I'm starting to kind of feel prideful, I always have to remind myself, because, and I've had it happen a couple times where, you know, you'll forget God pretty quick, and then he'll take everything away, and then you'll very quickly remember him again, because that's why he did that. So I always have to keep that in check. So when I start feeling good and prideful about myself, maybe a little bit, be like, okay, I'm still human. I'm still very fleshly and wicked, and I deserve hellfire. So, okay. And then it'll go back down and steady back out. So it's just kind of doing this type of deal, you know, throughout my life.
Welcome to adulthood, buddy. That's what I have to say. If you had a cup of coffee, we could cheers and welcome to adulthood. So I am super, super thankful for Matt. I'm so blessed to be his mom, honored to be his mom, humbled, and he knows it. I say it to him probably not as much as I should, but often, that I'm super blessed to be his mom. I'm excited about what the future will hold for him. I'm excited to see what God has for him, and I'm excited to see him continue to grow into the man that God wants him to be. And so much fun being here with him today and sharing this interview with you all. I hope that there was something here for you. There's a little takeaway somewhere. Anything else, Matt?
No, I think that's it, y'all. So thank you all so much, and comment down below if you want to see more of these style of videos.
Yeah,
or
we love them.
podcasts.
I hope you do.
Yeah. All right. See
Bye,
y'all
y'all.
later. Bye-bye.